WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm your host, Avery Cooper. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you'll always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You can find the streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. I have Kincaid-South Fork School District in studio, and we got a lot of coaches here. That includes junior high boys basketball coach Dan Pachetti. Great to have you here, Dan.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Also, high school girls basketball coach Josh Mulvaney. Great to have you here, Josh.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
And frequent guest, Superintendent Chris Clark. Great to have you here.
Yeah, great to be back. It's been a while since we talked.
It has been a little while since we talked. How's your winter been?
It's been nice. Waiting for this weather to break and get some full-time stuff, but nice weather going. But we got through it. We're kind of in the slide with school now, trying to finish stuff up. So I know the last radio interview was on site, and I didn't get a chance to see you. I think it's been probably 3 or 4 months since I've been here.
I know, right? Somebody has to be back here and control all the switches and whatnot.
Sure.
Had to be me those days.
But excited about this radio interview today. I brought 2 people with me that I greatly admire. They live up to the pony emblem that we want to install in our kids. They have success on the basketball court, but the success they have with their kids really inspires me to do what I do and stuff. So it's so awesome to have these kind of people, not just in our community, but also influencing our kids and driving our kids and extending those classrooms out. So, I mean, great people, known them my whole life, and just awesome that they're part of our school system. So,
and overall, well, let's see. Maybe you could provide a little bit, set the scene for me a little bit. How did the girls basketball team do this year?
They won the most games in school history with 17 wins this year, and kind of a young staff. They graduate 3 girls and moving forward. I know he moved up from the junior high coaching where he had success too, but again, success, wins and losses are one thing, just the success of the kids. Both of them are going to do that. And winning is going to come along with that when you do things the right way. And both these people do things the right way. And it's a testament to them of wins show you do the things the right way. Mm-hmm. The end results is you get wins. You don't chase wins without doing things the right way.
And again, if you would just set the scene a little bit for how the junior high boys did this year.
They ended up getting 4th in IESA state. First time we've been back there in quite a while with some different things. So exciting, we played at Macon Meridian, some exciting games up at the state finals, just exciting for the community, everything else. So, and both of these, had successful seasons this year, but they've been part of South Fork long before I was part of South Fork, coaching in the years and everything. So, it's a testament to what they want to do for the community and the kids.
Let's start with Coach Mulvaney, with a high school girls basketball coach. First off, I want to start off with, how would you characterize the way the season went for you?
Is, in my opinion, very successful. Wins is one thing, but it's the progress that we made. And I'll just give you an example. In our we lost in the semifinals of the regional, and we lost to Carrollton. Carrollton was a team that routed us, running clock by 30, and I believe it was the second game of the year, and we played them down to the wire the last game of the year. So just to show the progress, even though it's tough to, anytime you lose, but after, that week of sitting in and looking back, then you realize the growth your team has made. And not only being on the floor, but just believing that they could be in that game, after being running clock by a team like that, and gave Carrollton everything they could handle and then some. But just setting the tone, I feel like we've gradually, this is my 3rd year on the high school level. I've had these groups, even in the junior high, just building that culture. I'm a big believer in culture breeds success, and success breeds culture. So I feel like we've set that tone, and now we not only believe that we can win and be there, but now anytime we go into a gym, we're feel like we can win.
I understand when coaches a lot of the time talk about establishing a culture, they're talking about a culture of winning, but how would you describe the culture that you hope to establish at Pawnee?
South Fork, but you're good. You're good.
Cronaville was just in here.
I know. That's actually a rival down the road. So,
Anyway, that's a Cardinals hit. Anyway,
Yeah.
well, let's see.
No.
All right, let me rephrase. Well, how would you describe the culture that you would hope to instill at Kincaid-South Ford?
Winning's one thing. We want to have that winning mentality, not only believing we can win, but winning, but the culture that allows that, and that's the hard work, the relentless effort, and I know Coach Chetty, we've coached a long time. We've always praised and preached defense, rebound, hustle, the little things, and not worrying about breaking that culture. You see now a lot of times I feel like plagues sports is me mentality, making a culture to where I always tell them, it's a we above me. That's what we really push. So, hey, we don't really care who is scoring the points at the end of the night, as long as you look up at the scoreboard and it says Ponies one more point than whoever we're playing, then we win.
Let's shift attention to Coach Pichetti, the junior high boys basketball coach. I think for a lot of coaches, maybe fourth place isn't really what they aspire to get, but I get the sense that you're pretty happy with that result. How would you describe the way this year went?
A whirlwind, honestly. Even a month or so after the fact, I still try to put the pieces of the puzzle back together. And, we had so many memorable moments during that run. I mean, we had a great regular season, a good regular season, but we knew going, a regional title we thought was, something realistic to shoot for. And we knew that was going to be tough when we looked at the teams in our regional. We had a Pawnee right down the road, a great basketball team, a great seventh grade basketball team who had beat us earlier in the regular season, first seventh grade game of the year. And they came out there and put it to us. And Kincaid and Pawnee has had a little rivalry with this group. Too good. We played them 4 times. We beat them twice. They beat us twice. So we knew that was going to be a pretty entertaining game. Then to go, we beat Pawnee on our home floor for the regional title, then turn around and had to go play in Pawnee for the sectional title versus a Triopia game that we were up the entire time, only to lose the lead late in the fourth quarter, down I think 6 with under a minute to go, and still came back and found a way to win that game to advance to the state title to the state championship at that point in time, and to put yourself in that. We knew we were happy to be there, but once you get there, then you start realizing that you need to set your goals a little bit higher, because you've got to get that first win at state. Once you get there, you're down to the Elite 8, but only the top 4 come home with a trophy. And when we came out and we saw the team that we were playing in that Elite 8 game, and they looked like a JV team compared to us, and honestly, we just came out there and really established the tempo of the game early, and kind of ran away with that game, believe it or not. And only to suffer a tough semifinal loss in overtime, again down big, made what I would call almost an historic run to come back, tie the game, go into overtime. Had a couple opportunities, good looks, a basket goes in, we're playing for a state title. So we lose by 2 in the semifinal game, and then get beat in the 3rd and 4th place game by a solid Brown County team that I've had a lot of experience playing with over the past, and against them in travel ball and stuff like that. And so, no one plans to get 4th place, or is no one shooting necessarily for 4th place, but I couldn't be more ecstatic for the kids, for this community. 4th place is nothing to sneeze at, and we're excited about it. We feel like we set a new standard, and I don't think anybody truly believed that we would be playing or putting ourselves in that position, and no different than Coach Mulvaney talked about establishing a culture. Now we talk about believing that you can achieve success, and sometimes kids don't truly believe until they experience it. Now that these kids have had a little taste of it, we've had, Coach Mulvaney has a young son getting ready to come into junior high basketball. His age group, all these kids are there witnessing and realizing that a small town community, if they put the work in, and can achieve the results. And so this is a win. That was an experience that wasn't our goal necessarily, but definitely something we can all be proud of as we look back on it.
Well, I meant to say 4th place as if it is kind of something to see that, but it's not, right? Because it also means you guys took home a lot of hardware. You mentioned the regional championships, If I would have told you, Coach Pichetti, that before this year start you would be sectional champions, what would your reaction have been?
I probably would have taken that and realizing that I am an optimist, with a little bit of a realist in the background. We're always, when Coach Mulvaney and I started our coaching career together back in 2001. And so we'd been on the sidelines together. That turned into a 10-year partnership between the two of us. If at both the junior high and varsity level, and this entire time we've always talked about competing. It's not necessarily about wins and losses, but we were realists. We were optimists, but we were also realists, and we knew going into a season if it was realistic for us to set a goal of winning 20 games, of winning a regional title, of winning conference titles, or sometimes we would, if we just maybe didn't necessarily feel we had the team to truly achieve those things. We're not going to set standards and goals that are unachievable. We want those kids to realize that, hey, no one's going to give you anything. So I'm not going to tell you, if we don't have a team that is capable of winning 20 games, that this season's a failure if you don't win 20 games. That's not the case. We had a team that won one or two varsity games. I think it was our last year coaching varsity basketball. And honestly, it was probably the top 3 favorite teams of all time that I've ever coached. The 20 years I've coached, that team had 2 wins, and it was the most memorable, one of the most memorable, pleasant experiences I've ever had, because those kids, the record said they had 2 wins, but those kids won every time they stepped on the floor because they got better. They competed every game. They were playing with the conference. By the end of the season, if we were playing someone that was contending for a conference championship, they weren't looking at us as an automatic win. They knew they were going to be in a dogfight until the very end. And that's the way we've always coached. And it all comes down to hard work and to a certain degree, managing your expectations, because once those kids start to see that they're achieving some level of success in the coach's eyes, they'll do anything for you.
Oh, I really appreciate the overview, Coach Pichetti. And I want to go dive in a little bit more to the history that you and Coach Mulvaney have in just a moment. We got to take a quick time out, though. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You just heard from junior high boys basketball coach of Kincaid-South Fork School District, Dan Pichetti, along with high school girls basketball coach Josh Mulvaney and Superintendent Chris Clark, right here on WTIM, your information station.
WTIM.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLoss Yonke. A higher day for grain and soybeans. May corn up 7 1/4, 654 1/2. July up 6, 635 1/2. December up 3 1/4, 575 1/2. May soybeans up 5 1/4, 1473. July up 2 1/2, 1447. November soybeans are still down a penny, 1302 3/4. May wheat Chicago up 17 1/4, 717. Kansas City up 19, 891 1/2. Livestock, April lean hogs down 1/4, 77.50. April live cattle up 37, 165.32. April feeders are up a dime, 197.32. Crude oil up 97, 74.17. The Dow's up 198 points. Gold down 610. Is the RFD Radio Network.
The WTIM Swap Shop program is being moved to an online platform starting January 9th. Starting that day, you can click on the Swap Shop link on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com. Register, then list any and all items you have to buy, sell, trade, and give away free of charge. Items posted will be screened by station personnel before they go live on the new WTIM Swap Shop webpage. It's quick, easy, and a great way to get rid of your stuff absolutely free. Buy, sell, trade, or give away online by clicking the Swap Shop icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com starting January 9th. People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, are proud to continue their long-standing sponsorship of honoring Taylorville High School Students of the Month on WTIM's many platforms on AM, FM, and streamed online, and on WMKR, Genuine Country 94.3.
Hi, my name is Bix Vira. My parents are Kristen and Joe Vira. I go to Taylorville High School, and I am on the tennis team and photography club. I like art, tennis, and weightlifting, and my future plans are to go to college for art or graphic design, and I am in my church youth group.
People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, salutes these great Taylorville High School students on this honor and wish them the best in their future. People's Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
This is Megan Lopez with Nesty's Burger Joint on the south side of the Taylorville Square. To see our menu, click on our icon on TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
This is Shawlis Nagel, Executive Director at Kimmer Village in Assumption. To learn more about our services, click on our icon at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
Your information station, WTIM.
It's the WTIM morning show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. We're talking a little bit of March Madness during the break there with a couple of with a junior high boys basketball coach, Dan Pachetti of the Kincaid School District, along with high school girls basketball coach Josh Mulvaney, and also Superintendent Chris Clark tagging along for today. Before the break, Coach Mulvaney, we heard from Coach Pachetti about your journey a little bit, about from starting off in 2001, coaching together to now. How would you briefly here describe the journey that has been for both of you?
Oh, once in a lifetime experience, to tell you the truth. I owe this man everything, to tell you the truth, because he actually gave me my coaching start as his assistant back in 2001. We coached in 2001, took a couple years off, reunited again. I was a head coach, brought him on as my assistant. We did junior high boys for 4 years, won 2 regionals then moved up with a class that we started with as 5th graders as freshmen in high school, won the one and only regional championship for high school boys at South Fork. So I always consider, you know what, if you want my utmost respect, like Coach Pachetti said, I got a young one coming up in the junior high ranks, one of my most prized possessions, and to say, hey, I'm going to give this guy him, you know what I mean? Have the most trust for Coach Pachetti, most respect. It's been a whirlwind. I'd tell you, I would even catch grief from my wife sometimes, because whenever we coached together, she'd be like, you two just need to move out and get our own house, because we would go 6 days a week, 2 hours every day. Then on game days, we would talk the entire bus ride, have the game, talk the entire bus ride back. I'd be at home. I'd be on the phone. My wife would be like, who are you talking to? I'm like, Coach Chetty. Well, what in the world can you be talking about at this point? But it was just, you know, I always said when we coached together, I might have had the label as head coach, but there was no head coach. It was just, we were a great combination. I have nothing but the respect for Coach Chetty. I feel like together we kind of we're able to set the standard, and now spread apart and create a standard for South Fork basketball in both programs. So I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. Great guy. Great. Some of the fondest memories I've had was with Coach Pachetti. So,
Mr. Clark, maybe your final thoughts and how this all relates to the school district.
Like I said, they're all talking about sports, but it directly relates back to the school and instilling that culture in the school. And just from the 4th place run, the involvement of the community, the involvement of the kids during that run, football playoffs this year, success, like they said, breeds culture, culture breeds success. I think we got things moving in the right direction, and these two are a fine example of what hard work and dedication pays off with success, and we're hoping to install that in our kids during the school. Same thing. And when we got role models like these two in our district, we're very proud of that and thankful for the job that not only they do, but everybody in our district that helps kids find success. So thank you.
That is Superintendent Chris Clark of the Kincaid-South Fork School District, along with junior high boys basketball coach Dan Pachetti and high school girls basketball coach Josh Mulvaney. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
It's the WTIM morning show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville, 96.1 W241 CF Taylorville, 107.5 W298 CD Shelbyville, 107.9 W300 EH Payne and Nokomis.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. In a further deterioration of U.S.-Russia relations, Moscow says it will no longer give Washington a heads up about its missile tests.
In remarks carried by Russian